Hello, I'm Matt Davey Bones, and in this video I want to go over how the tile system works in Civ 6. So at a glance, you can know what to expect from the yields a tile can give. And not that you always rely on this information, but I think it's good to know how things work and why they work the way that they do. I also would like to go over how settlements work as a tile themselves, if that makes sense. I'll explain that. So let's begin. Right off the bat, I want to apologize for the lack of mouse cursor. For some reason, OBS doesn't want to record it, and I'm not smart enough to figure out why. But if you look on screen where it says grassland, marsh, river, etc., that's where my cursor currently is. So hopefully that will give you an indication of the stuff we'll be looking at. And I'll try to do my best to work around that. So let's begin. Alright, to ground ourselves, let's start with the grassland tile. Now, grassland produces two foods. All grasslands will always produce two foods. Now, this rule also applies to other tiles as well. Plains produce one food and one production. So, all plains will always produce one food and one production. Let's go back to the grassland tile for simplicity's sake. Again, it produces two foods. So when we look at the tile on the right side, we could tell it is a grassland tile, but now there's trees on it. So now this tile produces two food and one production. So if you look at the name, it says grassland and woods. So why does it work this way? To order to understand this, we got to think of this game in layers. Alright, let's break it down like this. We have a grassland tile and a plains tile. Now the wood, think of it as something you put on the tiles. So wood will always have one production. So all we have to do is just simple addition. And now we see our grassland tile now produces two foods and one production, and our plains produces one food and two production. Alright, hopefully that wasn't too patronizing, but I felt it was necessary to break it down like that. However, with that information, let's look at the cattle bonus resource on the tile next to this march. Now, before I put my cursor over it, we know that the rules are grassland tiles always has two foods. So this cattle should have more than that. So yes, it's a grassland tile and it has three foods. And now why is that? Let's go to the Civpedia? The Civpedia. When we search for cattle, yeah, there's one food. A bonus of plus one food. So with just a glance, we already got that information. So with hills, for example, hills like wood always has one production. So in this case, it's a hill on a grassland tile. So it has two food, one production. Now the difference is you could have wood on a hill that's on a grassland tile. So that will have two foods and two productions. So what that means is, because let me see. If you find stone, no, not Stonehenge. Well, it did its job right. Sorry, Civpedia. I clicked entered wrong. If you find stone, which gives plus one production, on a hill, that's way more beneficial than just finding a stone on the ground. So anyways, that's just how the layering system works in this game. So hopefully that makes sense. Now for the last part is settlements and what they yield. Now pretend you're going to settle on a tile that has absolutely zero value. It's just blank. The city itself will produce two food and one production. And this is to ensure that no matter where you settle, you're always able to do something with that city. Now, think of it as it will override the tile in a way. So if we settle on this plane, it will not add up. We will not have 3 food and 2 production. It will just cancel that out, and we will have what the city produces, which is 2 food and 1 production. However, if you settle on a tile that has greater value than your city produces, then you will reap the benefits. For example, the grassland tile on the top plus the cattle. I know that's milk, but Sid Meier says that's cattle, so that's cattle. Plus the city will equal 3 food and 1 production. Another example on the bottom, the plains plus stone plus a city equals 1 food and 2 production. Basically, that's the extent of it, and hopefully I explained myself well enough. If anyone has watched this far, I hope you enjoyed it and got some information out of it. As always, be excellent to one another, and see you later. Bye.